everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. And today we have a fun special bonus episode for all of the Bridgerton Hive members out there. We are talking about the new season coming up. This is our preview show for season 3. And this is just for fun. We don't know more than most anybody, but we just thought it would be fun to kind of speculate and talk about what's going on. And I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and Natasha's here.
Hi everyone.
How,
Hello.
how are you doing?
I'm I'm good. I got a haircut.
That's good. Are are you as anxious for the new season to start as me?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they've been teasing us too much. Like there's too
Uh,
much teasing.
oh
And
my
I
gosh.
don't like that it's released in part one, part two. Like I
I
think they need to just
know.
give us the entire season. It's gonna
Yeah,
end on some like cliffhanger and oh God.
because we've
Yeah.
been waiting 2 years since the last season, and
Yeah.
it was going to come out last December because of the strike. It got moved to May. Yeah, and then they're dividing it in half, and I've just been in agony. Like, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah. And I mean, I think I don't know if this is correct, but do you feel that there's more like promotional material for this season? I feel like it's being promoted way more than season two.
Well,
If I,
I don't know. I mean, there has been a bit, but like we've only gotten one trailer and really only two tiny clips. And I could use more. I could use more. And we should say this is a more mature show, so I don't think we'll keep it pretty clean, but just in case you're warned. If it's not for you. But yeah, I it's ridiculous how like I've I have tried really hard to not like get myself too excited so that I can't meet those expectations, but I don't think I've succeeded at all because I just I'm so I just wanted to see this darn show. And I there's this whole podcast that's on YouTube. Uh it's all about it's crazy. It's this Polin podcast where all they do is they go through every single scene that they call it the crumbs of Penelope
oh,
and Colin so far, and they like ridiculously analyze everything that's happened. Like the they'll be like, oh, he's wearing yellow in that scene. That's Penelope's color. He's obviously in love with her. Like they
oh
were
my God.
telling us, but yeah, so it's out of control. But I mean, them I don't mind as much that they're splitting it into because I will get to sort of enjoy those episodes so more. But I just it's just been so long. 2 years is a long time.
Yeah, but I think that's quite standard, I think, for like in between seasons of TV shows, no? Like at least a few
No, when
years.
there's I mean, when there's a strike, it is what it is. That's
Ah, yeah, yeah.
it's gonna take longer. And they did have the Queen Charlotte, but I don't like that. So that wasn't that wasn't
I
helpful.
remember, yeah.
Yes. And if people haven't listened, we did a whole ranking of the Bridgerton books, and that was really fun. And
Yeah, that
so
was
yeah,
fun.
yeah. So people should check that out. But let's dive in. I just thought we would just kind of talk about and we're recording this on the what's the date? 22nd. We're recording this on the 22nd. So in between that date and when this airs, if some new trailer or something new, that's why we are not talking about it. But anyway, so they one of the interesting things is they decided to skip the third book uh, and
Yeah.
uh, and go right to the fourth book. Uh, what do you think about that? How do you feel about that?
Mm, I think maybe because maybe they're still debating whether to like pursue a more queer
Uh-huh.
storyline with Benedict. I don't know. I think maybe they feel like they need the time to kind of think about it first,
Uh-huh.
because I think they kind of his character is a bit more queer, I feel, in the Netflix series.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe it's because they are debating what to do with the character and whether or not to pursue, I guess, what's in the books or carve something, I guess, a little bit different
Yeah.
for the character. I also feel that Benedict's look, his fever's kind of old. I don't know. Like
Uh-huh.
it's been a few seasons already, and he does look older. So I don't know if I don't know. I mean, I don't know whether they're gonna go a very conventional route for him. So I think that's why they decided to like skip to Polin because they are more, I guess, popular, and yeah, I mean that's what I'm thinking of.
Well, I don't think that I think they've said a bunch of times that they're not going to go that far off of the books. Like I
Like
think
Stray,
all the
yeah,
main I think the love interests are going to stay the same. But I just think on one hand I wasn't surprised because I do think that book three is the hardest one to adapt because it's basically Cinderella. And I feel like that it would just be sort of so Cinderella. I feel like it's gonna be kind of weird. But I am a little surprised that we aren't at least getting Sophie as a minor character that we know of, at least. She's not on any of the cast lists or anything like that. It's not been announced. And so because I would kind of expect that maybe like we just might get a little like wink wink. And or even if they did decide to make Sophie a dude, um, that it's still like it might be surprising to not get like a little wink wink, a little, cameo kind of, and maybe we will.
yeah. I guess I mean if Sophie's not. I mean, they're gonna change the character, then we might not even know the
Yeah,
new character might be in the cast list and we might not know. But it does feel like they're building the road for Francesca's story. It
yeah,
seems like she's like featuring prominently in the
yeah,
trailer. So I feel like they are kind of laying the groundwork for her story actually instead of Benedict's like his story is just
yeah.
nowhere to be found. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, they are leaning the like the B plot, you might say, is definitely we're going to see more Francesca, and I mean we have seen like 30 seconds of her so far in this series, so anything
Yeah.
would be more, but yeah, and also we're getting some of Eloise, and it's going to be interesting to see what they do with her character, because she is pretty different than in the books. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, that'll be interesting. But yeah, and we do know that Nicole Coffin said there's a new male character, and I think my guess is because we've already met Philip, Eloise's eventual love interest. We've
Yeah.
already seen him.
Yeah.
That I think that will probably be John, Francesca's first husband.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so as well.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
make sense. And it's a tricky thing because you can't have them have that good chemistry, because that's not her end game.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
that's a tricky,
Yeah.
I think, thing to do.
But I mean, I think if I remember correctly, Michael was, I mean, it's John's best
Cousin.
friend, right? So he'll probably be in like, I guess, the peripheries as well of the story in some way.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's like you want to make it like, especially if that's going to be her main love interest in this season, you have to make it like somewhat satisfying, but you don't want it to be so satisfying that by the time she gets her own story, it's not, like I think that would be a tricky dynamic to do.
Yeah. Maybe they might set up John for this season, so like,
Uh-huh.
they get acquainted and whatever. Then maybe next season is Eloise. And then and then after that, that would make more sense to, set up her end game like another season later so
Yeah.
that, we're not like too close, and then we're comparing, I guess, John and Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they might do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ho, ho, ho. We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Patreon.
Do you love Hallmarkies podcast, especially at Christmas?
Do you enjoy the holiday previews, recaps, interviews, and bonus episodes?
If the answer is yes, please consider supporting the Hallmarkies Patreon. We need your help to do what we do both during the Christmas season and all year round.
But not only do you help a podcast led by strong, independent women by becoming a Patreon, you get to become a part of the Hallmarkies family.
Starting at only $2 a month as a patron, you will have access to our Facebook Patreon group where we talk about the movies, shows, and more all year.
We also have many monthly patron watch-alongs with guests like Lacey Chabert, Natalie Hall, Paul Campbell, Mary Lou Henner, and more, giving their behind-the-scenes details of their films.
As a patron, you also have the chance to provide input into the podcast and even join us at different tiers.
So this Christmas season, spread some cheer to the Hallmarkies Patreon and become a member today. You won't regret it.
Go to patreon.com/hallmarkies to learn more.
That's patreon.com/hallmarkies.
The official synopsis on Netflix press site, as they say, from Shondaland and new showrunner, Bridgerton is back for its third season and finds Penelope Featherington has finally given up on her long-held crush on Colin Bridgerton. After hearing his disparaging words about her last season, she has, however, decided it's time to take a husband, preferably one who will provide her with enough independence to continue her double life as Lady Whistledown, far away from her mother and sisters. But lacking in confidence, Penelope's attempts on the marriage mart fail spectacularly. Meanwhile, Colin has returned from his summer travels with a new look and a serious sense of swagger. But he's disheartened to realize that Penelope, the one person who has always appreciated him as he was, is giving him the cold shoulder. Eager to win back her friendship, Colin offers to mentor Penelope in the ways of confidence to help her find a husband this season. But when his lessons start working a little too well, Colin must grapple with whether his feelings for Penelope are truly just friendly. So, I guess, how excited are you for this? What do you think of this plot?
I think I always enjoy, I think, a friends to lovers plot. I think this season will also, I think, be more enjoyable because we already like know the characters, compared to, like, I guess, previous seasons, when we met Daphne and the Duke. They're new, right? And then when we see Anthony and I guess Kate in the second season, we don't really know Kate in that world. So they are like fresh and new characters. Whereas like, Penelope and Colin, we've known them for like 2 seasons, right? And we've seen their friendship. We've seen both of them deal with their insecurities and their various challenges. So I think I'm really quite excited. I think there's a lot of like sexy moments in the book between like Colin and Penelope. So I think as a book reader, I'm excited to see those scenes kind of come to life. I guess on screen sound like a pervert. But and I don't know, all the press that the actors have been doing, I think have made everyone's imaginations like go wild, right? Because they're like, oh, we kept going when I think for the carriage scene when the director said stop, and they're like finish here, and they kept going or something like that. So they're teasing all of us, I think. So I'm excited to see that. I think I'm also kind of interested to see where the whole Eloise Penelope friendship plot goes, and how that kind of, I think, resolves, or whether it does or not by the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, because sometimes friends to lovers can be a little frustrating because it's just like, how can you not know that this person has a flame for you? I mean, come on. Like when they're working together 24/7 or something. But like it feels more believable in this sort of Regency. It feels more believable in this Regency time period because of all the rules that they had and all the courtship rules, and you were not supposed to even be in the same room, like alone with somebody you weren't engaged with, about chaperone and all this stuff like that. And it would have been pretty scandalous, I think, at that time for Penelope and Colin to even be writing letters, somebody you're not engaged to, things like that. And so it feels more believable that they wouldn't realize their feelings for each other.
Yeah, I think in the books she kind of, I think, comes into her own, I think because of she like changes her wardrobe, changes her
Yeah.
coloring, right? I don't know if she loses weight. I mean, I think she
Yeah, she
kind of
does.
she does a little bit, right? And she comes into her own. So I think that kind of helps him, I guess, see her in a new light. And I guess in the show he comes back looking like, hotter, I guess.
Yeah.
So that helps.
I love that in the trailer. Foreign land, did you come back looking so sturdy? Brothers teasing
It's
him.
so funny. It's like an inside joke at this point, like that all like the Bridgerton, I think, leads just get a glow up right
Yeah. Oh,
before
yeah.
their season. Yeah.
I mean, I would if I was having to film all this stuff. Like, but but yeah, it's it just,
That's
I
so
think
true.
given this time period, it feels pretty believable. And I just love how they are basically doing this Pygmalion kind of arc for Colin and
Yeah,
Penelope.
yeah,
I think it's really
yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's kind of similar-ish, I guess, to the whole Daphne and Duke setup. Not in a way of like, I mean they kind of work closely together in order to like,
Uh-huh.
hook get a marriage proposal, right? So that's kinda, I guess, not very similar, but Daphne and the Duke were doing something similar. He was like, pretending to court her to increase her appeal, right? Yeah, so it'd be fun, I guess, to see all of I guess I don't even know what Colin's gonna like teach her. He's very good.
Yeah.
But I think it'll be fun to see, yeah, I guess the training and all that.
Yeah. Because that's not really in the book. Like she
Yeah, yeah.
she asks him for his help in some things, but doesn't this I think it's a smart idea. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Especially because
Yeah.
Nicola Coughlan has like comedic roots. So she can pull off
Yeah.
this sort of funny scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think in the trailer there were some snippets of Penelope being very awkward and not
Yeah.
very skilled at talking to men, despite her, I guess, her wit has lazy Lady Whistledown.
Right.
So I think that'll be fun to kind of watch. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So it's pretty clear that the couple scenes from the trailer, we have her in this amazing green dress.
Oh,
So
yeah.
in the previous season, the Featheringtons basically kind of manipulated this money out of this whole ruby mine situation, right? And
Yeah, yeah.
so now she has some money to spend on updating her whole wardrobe as she tells Colin. And there is like this incredible moment when she ditches the cape, the red cape,
Yeah,
green
yeah.
dress, and everybody's like, what? That looks
It
awesome.
does look it does look awesome, but it also looks super like scandalous. I don't
Yeah.
know. It looked like, yeah,
They're
right.
pretty sheer
But she
for
looks great.
because
Yeah,
Bridgerton does not care about historic accuracy as far as the clothes, the materials, the
correct. Yeah.
colors. They don't care. And one thing I think that is, and this might be a case of overthinking, but like I think that they designed Penelope's dresses kind of strange in the early seasons, and that the Empire waist was too high, and it kind of cut off her bust, and it was I always thought that I was like, they have the strangest clothes for Penelope. It's so weird. But I kind of wonder if maybe that was by design, in the
Yeah,
sense of
yeah.
to really make this glow up, really pack a punch, because obviously her mother had not been dressing her in an attractive way. I mean, she's still obviously beautiful. I'm just saying that it was just always a little bit strange. I'm like, that cannot be by accident that they
Yeah,
made her
yeah.
dresses so odd.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think because there's so much attention to detail, right, in the costuming and in the world
Yeah.
building. So I agree with you that I think it is intentional. Because I think in the books, Penelope was always dressed in like colors that didn't suit her,
Yeah.
and were favored by her mom. So I think if I remember correctly, in the books, because she's Lady Whistledown, she has like extra money to play around with, and then she kind of
Yeah.
buys updates her wardrobe with things that would flatter her more. So I think that, that kind of makes sense. Like now they have money and she has the means and she can kind of, dress herself in the way that would flatter her, and she
Yeah.
looks great. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we know that it's the same scene, and I'm pretty sure that this is going to be in the first episode. This all of it, because it's this scene that we've seen a million times, or at least I have, where where she tells Colin that about that she overheard him, and that's
Mhm.
saying that he would never court Penelope Featherington. And he says, I missed you. You missed me. You missed me, but you would never court me. What? I embarrassed you. I mean, that's a great scene. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I feel like they're always like the Bridgerton couples are always having these kind of confrontations at the back of
Yeah.
of the venue, like it feels very reminiscent of Anthony and Kate's whole confrontation as well in
Yeah.
the second season, where she's just like, I heard you like, talking about, I think, women in a very weird way. Yeah. So
Uh-huh.
it feels like, so yeah, that's exciting.
Yeah. So I think that's going to be a fun first episode. The first episode is called Out of the Shadows. We don't have a summary or anything. We just have the title names of the episodes, Out of the Shadows.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
And so then there's obviously some clips of there's obviously something going on with a dream situation. And you
Mhm.
see Penelope in the Bridgerton blue, and you see the like small, there's all this like fog and stuff like that. And then of course in the trailer you see Colin waking up from a dream at a certain point. And I am very curious to see when that happens. If that's I mean, it's definitely going to be in either the first episode or the second, I think.
Oh, yeah. More likely the second, maybe. Like
Yeah.
after like they have kind of, reacquainted
Hmm.
and they're friends again, and then I guess he maybe starts to like have these inappropriate dreams about her.
It's How
And
Bright the Moon is the title of the second one. So that would be, maybe,
uh
yeah, a dream. And I think that's how they're gonna make things like some pretty steamy in the is that we're gonna have some dream sequences, whatever you got.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think they
Yeah.
just tease us though. I think they just tease us. I think we won't get like any like full on sexy times until the Carrie scene. Like I think it's just gonna be like tease and
Yeah.
and like
I mean,
here,
that wouldn't
here.
surprise me after season two, but
Yeah.
I but I think that's how they'll do it is they'll make some dream situations. And I love this whole idea of making Colin like really jealous. So he's teaching her how to get a husband, and then she starts being courted by this Lord Debling. And how far down that road do you think they will get? Do you think that she might actually get engaged to Lord Debling? Do you think they'll go that far?
I mean, I think knowing Bridgerton, they'll probably pull out the stops. I think they probably might get engaged and then
Oh,
might like wait Colin up. I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
because he's a new character, right? We don't know anything about him and what he's about and why his interest in Penelope, because now they have like money, right? So like who knows what is the reason behind his interest. I would hope that it's because of Penelope, but yeah, so it's
Yeah.
hard to see where this character is gonna go. Yeah.
And Lord Dudley is played by Sam Phillips. And it is risky
to bring in a another suitor, because you present the risk of audiences liking the new suitor. It is a little bit of a risk, and so that's the only reason I could see them playing up the sexiness a little bit more in like dreams and stuff, because you definitely want to keep it like the full focus on everything you want it to be on Penelope and Colin.
Yeah, maybe I think they would do like they would treat Lord Dabbling like the prince character in season 1, where he's like kind of there, he's nice, and he's perfectly suitable, but he's not the right man, right? And we all know it. Yeah. So maybe they would go down that route.
And we have her mother saying, "You did so well, Penelope." So she's definitely a big fan of Lord Dabbling. But I'm very curious to see how far they take it, if they end up getting engaged, because that would be such fun to see Colin just be, especially after him being such a jerk, him just squirming with jealousy is going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think he needs to have that torture. It'll be fun.
Yes. So do you think that they are going to have the carriage scene in this first part?
Oh man. How many episodes are we getting in the first part? Is it like 5? It's like half a season.
Yeah, I'm not sure if there's 7 episodes total in the season.
Wow.
Introducing the exciting new debut novel from Savannah Carlyle, The Library of Second Chances. Daily walks along the sparkling shoreline and chats with her best friend are a part of the slow-paced life for bookstore owner Lucy Sullivan. But when she hears Logan Lancaster has been brought in to solve the town's budget deficit, Lucy isn't all that excited about his vision. They couldn't be more opposite, except for one small thing. Unbeknownst to both of them, they've been swapping anonymous notes in their little free library. Could they fall in love with each other's words while fighting in real life? Don't miss this delightful read. Perfect for all your summer reading fun. Pick up The Library of Second Chances by Savannah Carlyle wherever you purchase your books or use the affiliate link below. Find out more about Savannah at harpethroad.com. That's harpethroad.com.
Oh, wait, here. It says it on here. IMDb. We are getting 4 episodes.
So there's 7 in total and there's 4.
Yeah. So we get Out of the Shadows, How Bright the Moon, Forces of Nature, and Old Friends. That's the titles.
It feels like maybe the Old Friends episode, maybe. Is there any carriage sounding titles?
Okay, so then there's for June, there's 8 episodes total. 4 and 4.
Okay, so 4.
Yeah, and so in June, the titles are TikTok, Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is the name of the book, Joining of Hands, and Into the Light.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They can't like have nothing in part 1, right? They have to give us something.
Yeah. Well, we know that they will definitely have their first kiss for sure. And the way it is in the book is she comes up to him and is like, "I'm an old maid. So will you kiss me?" She's like, "I don't want to, if I die tomorrow and I've never been kissed, I don't want." She's like, "But you'd be dead."
Oh, okay. But maybe in this season, like, maybe she might need, like, what if Lord Dabbling tries to kiss me? Like, what should I do?
Oh,
and then he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, I can help you as a friend.
That would be really good if they did it that way. Yeah. Like add to the jealousy.
Yeah, but I guess if it's 4 episodes, I don't think we're gonna get the carriage. I think they'll leave it for
part
2. I don't know.
I'd die if they make me wait.
That's like the one, like that's the the major like
it
scene
is
that we're all waiting for, right? Yeah.
The other thing that I wonder about is that, so in the book, they have this amazing carriage scene, hot carriage scene, and then he immediately proposes to her. Immediately. He says, what? He's like, good grief, Penelope, when are you going to agree to marry me? And she's like, what? and I wonder if they will do that here too, because I can imagine them kind of stretching that out, not making it, because that's what they certainly did that with Kate and Anthony. They get engaged way sooner in the book.
Yeah, correct. So I don't know. It feels like the Bridgerton season arc approaches more of a rom-com kind of arc, in the sense that the marriage or whatever tends to happen towards the end.
Yeah.
I guess with the exception, Daphne and the Duke, right? Because it happens like halfway. They get married.
Right. Yeah.
And then they have about, I guess, because their conflict is like after marriage.
Yeah.
Whereas,
well, and that did allow season 1 to be a lot hotter than season 2, as far as a lot steamier.
Yeah, because they could.
Yeah.
They had free reign.
Yeah.
As a married couple. Yeah.
So that's interesting. And evidently this carriage scene was they evidently, they didn't realize that the director had called cut, because I guess they couldn't hear it or something. And anyway, they just kept going. Which is like such a brilliant promo to say that. Like, Nicole Coughlan and Luke have done an excellent job in promoting the season, because a lot of those things, like you're saying, they've been promo, has really just been interviews with them on the red carpets and different things like that.
So I think it helps because they are already established characters, so we're like excitedly like reading all these like nuggets of information that they drop. And I feel like they're doing this on purpose. So like they told us about the whole carriage thing, and then there was the whole we broke some furniture while filming scenes. So everybody's like, oh my god, like what kind of content are we gonna be getting? Everyone's like running wild.
Yeah, because really, as far as material that Netflix has provided, there's really just been 2 clips and a trailer. That's it that we've gotten. It's most of the crumbs, as that podcast I like, has just been from these interviews that they've done.
Yeah. Didn't he tweet out something after they released the Lord Devling and Penelope thing?
Yeah, so they had this clip of and Penelope and Lord Devling, and Luke Newton, he was like I can't remember, it wasn't triggered. I can't remember the word he used, but it was so funny on his social media.
Fuming, right?
Fuming, yeah. That was so funny. Yeah. And so I think it's going to be extremely romantic, not only because we know both of these people, and we the Friends to Lovers arc, but just like I feel like it's especially escapist on so many levels to have somebody like Penelope, who is not your typical ingenue, and smart, is beautiful, but is kind of insecure. I don't know, there's so many things I feel like about her personality that I think will be really escapist to see her fall in love.
Yeah, and I think what does she say? Diamonds are not the only gems that sparkle. Yeah. So I think it would be really nice to, I don't know. I think I can relate to Penelope, I think, the most out of all the characters, that feeling, I guess, because they've always been, I think, so close to the Bridgertons, in close proximity to the Bridgertons, right? And all the Bridgertons are just like beautiful center of attention. Every time they come out, they are like dazzling everybody, right?
So I think she says that in the trailer.
Not everyone gets to, like, it's automatic, right? It is for Bridgerton. you know. So yeah, I think she is very relatable, I feel. And
Yeah.
I'm so excited to see her get her happy ending, I guess, with
Yeah,
Colin.
me
Yeah.
too. So yeah, we talked about a little bit about Francesca. She has barely been in the show so far. They have a new actress playing her. Hannah Dot is her name. And are you excited to see Francesca's character arc this season?
Yeah, I think because I think we didn't get to see because the book wasn't about her first marriage.
Yeah.
So I'm interested, I guess, to see like how that unfolds, because we never really get to see John in the book, right? Because
Yeah.
stuff has happened. Yeah,
Yeah.
so yeah, but I think it'd be cool to kind of see something within, I guess, the world, but something that's kind of tangential to it. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
In the trailer, we see her getting presented for the Queen. And
Yeah,
we've
yeah,
seen that we've seen Lady Bridgerton do that with Eloise and with Daphne. So now this is Francesca's turn, and of course we'll see Hyacinth eventually. And I think it is going to be fun. We see that scene of her looking at her parents' painting. So you can imagine maybe she's been proposed to and she's looking at their love and or she's contemplating in some way. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see again how they do John, because I wouldn't be surprised if it's more of a transactional kind of marriage as opposed to like a love
yeah,
match,
yeah, yeah,
because you want to
yeah,
save that for a Michael. I'd be curious if we see Michael, if we get like a
yeah,
little glimpse of him like looking at her or something.
yeah,
I
yeah.
would
That would
love to
be
see that.
cool. Yeah.
Oh, because Michael's probably my favorite of the dudes.
Oh,
I
yeah.
really
He's
like
like
Michael a lot.
he's really sexy. Yeah,
Yes. Well, he's really sexy because he's just like yearning and you feel so
yeah,
bad for
yeah.
him.
Yeah, because he's like in a complicated situation, right? Because there's Francesca and her grief, right? This guy, John, is his best friend, so it kind of feels like
His
he's
cousin.
betraying him. Cousin, but also
Yeah.
best friend,
He's
right?
gonna inherit the estate. And so he feels
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
especially bad that he's been in love with his cousin's wife for all these years.
Yeah, yeah. It's as if like he's taking every single thing that used to belong to John, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how he kind of feels. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's I really enjoyed that book. That was really good, I thought. And it was just nice to have like a different story than the virginal young ingenue like we'd seen in the other Bridgerton books, is like a little bit different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think I also kind of like that, I guess. I guess maybe because he's not a Bridgerton, he wasn't very like wishy-washy. Like he was really just all in.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Whereas when you think about like, the whole like Duke and Daphne, like the Duke was like vacillating, and then you have Anthony and Kate because he is so afraid of falling in love because of what happened with his father. Like they're always like, kind of like half
Yeah.
in, right?
That's true.
Until, then they're like, they like open their heart to love and then they're like, yes.
Well,
But he
and
was all in from the start, man.
well, he's all in, and then she is that Bridgerton of being really
Yeah.
hesitant. He's like, I love you, and she's like, I'm glad I married you. You're like, oh,
I don't know. The Bridgertons are,
but they
yeah,
do.
I guess,
She is won
yeah.
over. Like she's I think afraid of how much she is attracted to him because
Yeah,
she's not
yeah,
supposed to
yeah,
feel that way. She's a widow.
yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
We'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. It's the Hallmarkies Merch Store.
Are you looking for that perfect gift for the postable, hardy, or Hallmarky in your life?
What about getting that t-shirt or hoodie that will help you stand out at your next holiday party?
Now is the time to check out the Hallmarkies Merch Store.
Full of festive designs by artists like Jessica Miller, Carrie from Hallmark Comics, and more.
You can even have more than just shirts, but totes, cell phone cases, notebooks, mugs, and more.
And it isn't just Hallmark. We have designs for Anne of Green Gables, Man from Snowy River, The Nanny, and more.
Every purchase at the merch store goes to help support the podcast and allows us to make the great content you know and love.
There are frequent sales, so go to tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies or see the link in the description.
That's tpublic.com/stores/hallmarkies.
Yeah, I think when I had my interview with Julia Quinn, like I think ages ago, right before Bridgerton came out, and we're talking about, I guess, the spice level in when he was Wicked, and Julia Quinn was like, yeah, it makes more sense for the book to be spicy because Francesca has been married before, right? She's a widow, she's not like a virgin, so she was like. Because I think at that point, a lot of people kind of said that she was upping her spice level because, she was trying to kind of make, I guess, the books more exciting in some way. But her decisions were always based, I think, around the characters and what felt natural. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did really. So I'll be just very curious of what we see of John and of Michael.
Yeah. I hope that they're not teasing us with all this Francesca stuff and then suddenly they don't appear at all.
I know.
This season. Yeah.
Yeah. And so then we have Benedict. So he had quit the art school, which I thought was so stupid. Just because you find out that your brother's been paying for it. Like, what?
Yeah. I don't know.
That was dumb. But I know he's Benedict. He's a favorite of a lot of people. People really like.
Yeah.
People really like him, and
the actor's really charming.
Yes.
Yeah.
His name Luke Thompson plays Benedict, and it will be very interesting if we get any hints of the real. Because sometimes they have like with Anthony and the opera singer, sometimes they have like a phase 1 relationship that's not like endgame. So I could see them doing that also.
Yeah. It's possible. Yeah.
Well, so then we have Kate and Anthony. It seems like their marriage is going great.
Yeah. I'm excited.
And I think that Anthony is basically going to take over for Daphne because we know that she's not in this season. And so I think because in the book, there's this big scene between Daphne and Colin where the whole ball is at Daphne's. And so I think that they are going to swap that out and have that be Anthony instead of Daphne.
Yeah. I think Daphne's character is a bit, I think, difficult to insert into the world now because BRIDGERTON isn't coming back as the Duke. So I think it's kind of weird that, she's always showing up, I guess, without her husband.
Right. Yeah.
I think it was okay in season 2, I guess, for like a little bit. But if she's always consistently there without Simon, I think it kind of seems weird.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. So it makes sense
I
that
wish
they're kind
that
of like, yeah.
I wish these actors would just like do a little cameo. I mean, come on, how long would that take? One day on set just to like pop in, but I guess they get worried of being pigeonholed. But
yeah, I mean it's the reason why Dan Stevens left Downton Abbey, right? After like a certain number of seasons. It's like if you stay too long, then it's harder, I guess, to like branch out and diversify if that's what you want to do. Yeah.
Well, at least they didn't kill him off though, like they did in Downton Abbey. So there's still a chance that he could come back for like a little cameo or something like that.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I don't think it's a closed door, right?
Not this season, he won't. But I'm just saying, like, he could come back for like finale or later on. I mean, his career doesn't seem to be going that well, so maybe he'd have a second.
See, he was in that Grey Man. Was it Grey Man? The Grey Man, I think he was in that.
Yeah, and then he was in Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah, which didn't do that well, even though it was good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about Eloise. So in the trailer, we see obviously they have this split between Penelope and Eloise. Eloise finds out that she's Lady Whistledown, gets very upset, and we see Eloise with Cressida, kind of Penelope's enemy.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah, and what do you think about that? Like, what do you think their friendship story is going to be?
I don't know. I feel like Eloise is just using that to kind of get back at Penelope. I think she's kind of shown to be inserting herself quite a fair bit into the whole Colin and Penelope relationship and romance. I think she still wants to be friends with Penelope. I think the season will probably end with them reconciling. I can't see it like being a permanent rift. Yeah.
No,
so I think
it won't be a permanent
rift. Hanging out with her for that.
Yeah. I mean, and I think because episode 4 is called Old Friends.
Yeah.
And obviously that's going to be to a certain extent Colin and Penelope, but I also think it'll be Penelope and Eloise.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean it's not just Colin that she's really good friends with, right? It's also Eloise, right? They've been best friends for like, their whole life. So so I think she's just doing it to piss Penelope off. I don't think that there's a true friendship there.
I love that scene in the trailer when she's like leaning back, like, what is going on between my brother and Penelope? She's not meaning to make a husband out of you, is she?
Oh yeah.
So good. So what do you think is going to happen with Eloise and Theo? He is in the season, the actor.
Oh, is it? I don't know. I don't think he can go anywhere. Maybe something might happen and then that might push her to, go off to Philip.
Yeah, maybe. I could see this also being this could be a phase 1 relationship, not the end game. Like they did with the opera singer and Anthony. I could kind of see it like that. But it'll be interesting to see what her interactions with Philip are. Because we've seen him before. Philip was in the first, well, he's been in both seasons, but he had an arc in season 1 where he marries Marina.
Yeah.
Because his brother has died, she's pregnant, and so he agrees to marry her. And so I don't think that the actress who played Marina is on the season, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think so. And but it'll be interesting to see if we get to see a little bit of Philip.
Yeah, most likely I think they probably start to set the work, right? The path, right, for their relationship. I think probably Marina's probably passed away. Something's happened to her at this point, and maybe we'll see more of Philip.
Because in the
especially
book,
because Colin struck up a friendship with him, right? So Colin might.
Oh yeah. And Colin was there when Philip proposes, if I remember correctly. And so that'll be interesting because in the book, she meets Philip by writing him like basically like a condolence letter. When Marina dies, and then they just start writing, and he's like, "Hey, why don't you come on up here?" And
and the mother to my children.
I mean, I think that book is going to be tough to make it to a series because I don't know, like it's just not that swoon worthy. I mean, he's like, Philip is really attracted to Eloise, like, wow. But it's just kind of it's just not that swoon worthy of a situation of like her. It's a little transactional, their relationship.
Yeah,
at least to start.
Because correct. Yeah, because he needs a mother to his children. She needs a husband because I think she's just worried about
spinster.
I think and not having agency. I think over her actions. So she acts. But I agree. I don't know how because it's very interior. Most of the book is in the house, and involves them, I think, becoming a family and etc. So it's kind of not the most riveting Bridgerton book there is.
Yeah, I wonder if
Yeah.
they will combine Benedict and Eloise's stories books together. Because then you'd
Might
have
make
like the whimsy of
sense.
the Cinderella narrative with this sort of almost Jane Eyre like narrative of,
Yeah.
of Eloise and Philip.
What a combination.
Yeah, I watched that all day. Hey, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I mean, how much do you think we're going to see of Kate and Anthony? Do you think we're going to get a bit of them?
Um, yeah, I
They have
hope
so
that we
many
get some
fans.
like, yeah, I hope we get some lovey-dovey stuff, but I feel like they're just going to kind of be the loved up couple throwing the balls, giving
Yeah.
advice. It seems to be that that's going to be their role,
Hmm.
sadly.
Yeah. So we got to see in the trailer quite a bit of this Will Mondrick, the
Yeah,
boxer from the previous seasons, and he's married
yeah.
to Alice. Was that surprising to you? It surprised me.
He was a boxer and then he opened a gentleman's club, right?
Yes.
And yeah, there wasn't much, I think, besides those things. I'm not sure like what part or what role he's going to play because I think he was introduced as like a good friend of the Duke's, right? He and the Duke were like
Hmm.
acquainted.
Yeah.
So I'm not too sure
I wonder
where
if
they're going to go with it.
he'll become involved with Lady Whistleton, the whole like cover up and the whole, that seems like maybe that might be where, but he was in a
Um,
bit of the trailer. I was surprised.
yeah, yeah, that is true. So I think sizable part, maybe, I don't know, involved in one of the plots, but not sure which one.
Uh-huh.
Probably maybe something to do with Anthony or the Lady Whistledown, I think.
Well, Colin is friends with Will. Remember at the
That is
end,
true.
he
Yeah.
says that, oh, you were right about the Ruby guy. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and he brings a lot of new customers in for the club. So they have a good relationship. That's why I could just see like if once Colin realizes the Penelope is Lady Whistledown, he's he's probably gonna try to like help her in some way because Cressida takes the credit for Lady Whistledown in the book. And I
Yeah.
think that's definitely going to happen again here. And uh so I don't know. I could just see him getting involved in that way.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds plausible, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love if they gave Lady Violet a love interest this season.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love that. I think that would be, especially when they had those scenes in Queen Charlotte of her and Lady
Yeah.
Danbury talking about their past loves and everything. I mean, they didn't have
Yeah.
anything in the trailer or anything like that, but I think that would be really fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think they did kind of tease it, in a sense that Violet seems to be ready to, I guess open to it, I guess, for to
Yeah.
some male companionship. So
Mhm.
I feel like maybe there's too many running plot lines, so maybe not this season, but maybe like, in one of the more boring.
I would love to see
Like
that.
maybe in the Cinderella Jane Eyre,
Yeah.
there'll be a Lady Violet
Yeah.
plot line as well.
If you need help, Bridgerton showrunners, we're here for you. We got it all mapped out.
We're helping them like, map out the future seasons. They're like, yeah.
I love that scene in the trailer when he's talking to his mom at the ball. I think that scene will probably be like I think the whole because it's Daphne's ball in the book, or I think it'll be Anthony's ball. But I wouldn't be surprised if that whole scene at the ball is in the last episode of this grouping, episode 4. And that's kind of the cliffhanger of like she gets engaged to Lord Debling, and he asks his mom, uh, what do you think is about friendship? Is friendship a good, yes? And then he confronts her after the at the end of the
Yeah.
ball, and they made an
Yeah.
announcement. Oh, we're engaged, and then he confronts her and says, "I can't let you do this." And how great a cliffhanger would that be? We'd probably like,
And like I would pass away.
yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. It seems like we have solved it.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be that's how it's gonna play out.
Write that down right here. And then when that ends up being what happens, come back and give me a lot of credit. Because that would be really good. And I love the way that they are slowly having her wear the Bridgerton blue throughout so by the end, she's in blue for that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It suits her like her coloring so well as
Yeah.
well. That blue. Yeah, she looks great. Yeah.
Mhm. Well, she wears clothes so well. I mean, she just looks like she has such a beautiful coloring to like her hair, and just everything is just so beautiful. And so
Yeah.
so uh, they did a really great job making her glow up, convincing. It's not one of those ones where it's like, oh, you just took off the glasses. She was off like they do so often. But
Yeah.
But I think that's everything. I think we talked about all the main characters. And so let us
Yeah.
know if you are listening what you think. What are your speculations for the season? What you could see happening with the different characters? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I mean, I am just a mess of speculation. So join me and let's just talk about it. It'd be really fun. And yeah, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen in the first part versus the second part? All that fun stuff. Put in the comment section and let's talk. And make sure you listen to our book ranking episode because that's really fun. And we do have a recap also of season 2. And we'll definitely be doing at least 2 recaps of this new season, the first part and second part. At least that much.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. But Tasha, where can people find you?
They can find me on Twitter at Lit My Soul. And my writing, you can read my Bridgerton reviews, my interview with Julia Quinn, and all that on culturedvouchers.com. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes, including you can read my reviews of the Bridgerton seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're fun. And and on Goodreads too, you can follow me there. And make sure you're following the podcast, Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media. And if you are listening on iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. We really, really appreciate that. And if you're watching on YouTube, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate that so much. We also have our Patreon group, which is a lot of fun, and our merch store. And I have submitted some Bridgerton merch. It just has to get approved as like fan art. So we'll see if they get approved, but keep an eye out for that because they're pretty fun. So that's going on, and all those links will be in the description. So check that out. And thanks so much. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye.
Bye.